Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
I'm Ted.
Today we talk about how Nerdarchy defeated D&D A.D.D.
If you want to jump down the description below, you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter. It's a great way to get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with us.
So, over the years, we've had many campaigns that have fizzled out, the GM's burnout. Like, there's so many different things that we've had that have negatively impacted our campaigns.
I agree. And, I've got notebooks full of, characters and campaign stuff that it's like, I'd love to go back and see, where those stories were going to go, but due to one thing or another, we're not playing that campaign anymore.
I think that happened a lot. I think the biggest culprit was the dungeon master or game master would start running a game, would be excited about it, but then running it every week, month after month, would get bored. They would get burnt out on DMing. They'd want to actually play instead of just run the game.
Well, I mean, running every single week gets challenging. You've done it for longer of a stretch than I ever have, and I feel that there's a big commitment, and there's sometimes it takes time to really plot and plan what the next step in this adventure is going to be.
Well, more so too, like with the way we used to do. The way we used to prep for gaming as well, like, has changed and evolved over the years.
That's true.
I mean, we've really adopted more of the Mike Shea's lazy dungeon master way of doing less and doing more improv, and really focusing on working on certain areas for the upcoming game. Whereas before, I personally would very, very much draw out maps. I would write the encounters out like it was a pre-planned adventure or a module. A lot of times, with a paragraph or more of just like text, flavor text.
Right.
So like things like that,
You'd just be describing the scene, describing the creatures that are in it.
Right, and anymore, don't really do that anymore. A lot of descriptions happen on the fly. A lot of times I won't do a map, or it'll be a pencil-drawn map on a sheet of paper, opposed to where I used to break out the graph paper and, I might, jot down the different elevations and, all kinds of different things, and make all kinds of icons to put on the map. And, and here's the thing, like, that stuff is actually fun to do, and I've enjoyed doing it in the past. But if you don't have the time to do it, it's very difficult.
Back in the day, you had a job. You may or may not have had a girlfriend at the time. I mean, you entered into my life through dating my sister. So I mean, there was always that. But between a relationship and a job, there really wasn't much else. And as we've gotten older, we now both have 2 kids. All the family things, we now do all of this stuff for Nerdarchy. It's challenging to find the time to plot and plan adventures the same way we used to.
Right. So we've identified like the problems, right? And we're going to just go off on a limb here and assume that for you guys it's the same. There isn't enough time. So what our group has done since we started Nerdarchy is, like, generally our GMs only run a session a month.
Right.
Which is a huge benefit. So even if we want to write stuff out, which we don't do nearly as much as we used to, there's more time to do it.
Exactly.
One of us will run, the fan game, so there's that to prep for. But it's still, so you're talking to like 2 sessions a month, and if we take on more, it's still not as bad as it used to be. And here's like the key factor too. As a GM, you don't get bored because you're running different games for different people, and you're getting the opportunity to play the game as well. I know some people, all they want to do is GM, but I even find like most of the time, like, it's like, okay, you're the GM because no one else will be, so, and you want to play, and even though you'd love to be a player,
you'd rather play the game and GM just so that something happens rather than not play because you don't feel like running tonight.
Yes, exactly. And you know, so you know, for us, a huge benefit, and you know, one of the things you can see, it's recorded on our channel now, is how long our games have been running. Now they aren't the most sessions we've done in a campaign, but they are the longest running games,
Right.
without really an end in sight. Like, I really feel like these games, it may take a little while to get there, but these games could go up to level 20.
I'm planning to have it go that far, at least for my game. I have a, like, we've reached the midpoint clearly in my game, and my group is level 10 already, and they've finally started to, or you guys have finally started to see the bigger picture of what's going on. So I think that, you know, as more happens, you'll see some of the stuff that I've already unearthed into the world, whereas it didn't take as long with your game to see the grander effect that you had out there.
So yeah, well, with my game, like, I actually introduced the threat later, where in your game the threat was from session 1.
Right, that's true.
You know, so over the course of, I mean, we're up to like 20 sessions in your game, and,
Like
and
that.
my game's like, you know, maybe one behind.
Mm-hmm.
So over that course of the 20 sessions, it's always been about Narcitas. It's always been about the blood cultists.
Right.
You know, I didn't really introduce the idea of the Vargarians until later,
Right.
in my game. You know, probably like the midpoint. You know, if even that soon. And the struggle for my game is going, okay, well, I do have this one objective for you guys to do, but like the level 20 objective is like, what do I do between the midpoint objective that you guys have in front of you now and what I consider like the level 20 objective, you know, and stretching it out. Not that has anything to do with the topic of this video, but yeah, but you know, in essence, you run a game, I run a game, and then we have Scott Garrity running a game.
Right. And what that has allowed us to do, having that essential month break in between sessions, it gives us a chance to breathe. And there's been times where I literally wrote the material, you know, the hour before the session, and there's been times where I've been plotting and planning leading up to what I have going on now. I have a storyline that I can weave because I have an idea of where you guys are looking to go. So I can pre-work some of that stuff. I can have things figured out. But I don't have to rush. I don't have to push my way through it. I have weeks in between each session that I can breathe, and I have that advantage of saying, okay, well, the 2 other sessions that we get together for a month, I get to just be a player. I get to show up and have fun.
Right, yeah, no work needed.
Other than updating a character sheet, I don't need to do a whole lot of work in between. And that's stopped me from saying, okay, I'm done. I need a break. And I think that based off of how I've done things in the past, I think I could have very easily said, okay, we got to this point and I need to pull back. I need to
You would have burned out, yeah. And the other thing too is like Scott's game is much different than yours or mine. Like, so like ours are the long-term campaigns, and then Scott's game does these really short arcs. So like even that game is always in flux and always changes.
Right.
And that very well may be Scott's way of not burning out on a campaign as well, which is interesting. But it just adds an interesting dynamic for our group as a whole, for us to not have to worry about burning out. We're still excited about playing. You know, we also play with different groups, so we have different group dynamics that we have going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very fortunate that way. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people may not have that option, or it might be more difficult.
There's a lot of groups out there that there's 4 to 6 people that they get together in their area. They're their lone group of gamers, and 1 or 2 of them are probably willing.
That's what we did for decades.
Years.
Yeah. So you're currently playing in how many games?
4. Well, I have a 4th one that will be starting next month, but as a campaign just.
But it's a 4th group because you've been playing in that
yes,
one. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So so you're still getting in. You're getting in like almost a game a week. Mm-hmm. You know, on average, yeah. So but it's just spread out amongst different games and
different groups.
Different systems.
Different systems. 3 of them are D&D. The 4th one is Scott's game, whatever that winds up being. We've run Star Wars and D&D, and now we're onto the Cypher system, and
which is kind of cool. I like that. I like that idea. If I was playing 4, I would want it to be like maybe 2 D&D and maybe 2 different systems.
it would be interesting. And with the other group, it was brought up. What do we want to do? And that's a hardcore D&D group, so
D&D
they went
is.
D&D.
I know, even with the ladies of the NAG, I've kind of like pushed out there, we could do Cypher system or something. And they're like,
D&D.
It's all right. We know where our bread is buttered. We still love 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. We just like to play other games too, which is all good.
So you guys out there, are you playing multiple games a month? Multiple sessions a month? Are you lining up with just a single DM meeting every single week? What do you do to combat that DM burnout or disinterest? Put your comments down below while you're at it. Like, share, even subscribe.
You can hang out with us over at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.